Headlines, news alerts, your social media feed? Let's be honest, we are swimming in a sea of surveys. 70% of people think this. A new poll shows that. But how many of us actually know how to tell a good survey from a bad one? Well, that's what we're going to do right now. Let's dive in and learn how to spot the difference.
So check this out. It's a real puzzle. Two polls ask the exact same question. Should the United Nations headquarters stay in the United States? The first was a call-in poll on a TV show. It got a massive response. We're talking 186,000 callers. And 2/3 of them said, nope, the UN should leave. But then a second scientific poll of just 500 people found the complete opposite. A huge majority, 72%, wanted the UN to stay.
So what is going on here? The same question, but totally opposite results. How is that even possible? Which one are we supposed to believe? The one with nearly 200,000 people or the one with just 500? I mean, the answer seems obvious, right? But it might just surprise you.
The secret to cracking this puzzle, and really to understanding any survey, isn't about the question they asked. It's about the people who answered it. It is all in the sample. Okay, this is probably the single most important thing to get. When it comes to surveys, size isn't everything. It is not about how many people you ask, it's about who you ask. Think of it like tasting a big pot of soup. You don't need to drink the entire pot to know if it's salty, right? If the soup is well stirred, just one spoonful is enough to tell you everything you need to know. That one spoonful, that's your sample.
All right, so to talk about this like a pro, we just need two key terms. The population, that's the entire pot of soup. It's the whole group you want to understand. So for our UN poll, the population would be all Americans. And the sample, that's your spoonful. It's the small slice of the population that you actually talk to. And the whole goal of that spoonful, of that sample, is for it to be representative. That's a key word. It just means it needs to accurately reflect the entire population. If your sample doesn't look like your population, you've got what's called a biased sample, and that's when your results are going to be totally misleading.
Let's make this super visual. Imagine our entire population. Our whole pot of soup is 60% blue and 40% yellow. Simple enough, right? This is the reality we're trying to figure out. So a good representative sample would look just like the real world. 60% blue, 40% yellow. It's a perfect miniature version. But now look over at this biased sample. Whoa, it's way off. It's showing 80% blue. It completely overrepresents that group, and that gives us a totally distorted picture of what's really going on. This right here is exactly where most surveys go wrong.
So the big question is, how do we actually avoid getting a biased sample? Well, it all comes down to how you pick the people in the first place. And when you're picking, there are basically two ways to go about it. There's the right way, and then there's the easy way.
The right way is called probability sampling. This is the gold standard. It means every single person in the population has a known, real chance of being picked. The easy way? That's called non-probability sampling. And this, my friends, is a major red flag. This is where people are just chosen based on convenience, and we have absolutely no idea if our sample truly reflects the whole population.
So with probability sampling, you might use a method like simple random sampling. Literally, think of it like putting the name of every single person in the population into a giant hat and then pulling names out at random. Everyone has an equal shot. This is how you get that well-stirred spoonful of soup. It's how you get results you can trust.
Non-probability sampling, on the other hand, is all about what's easy. It's also known as convenient sampling, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just grabbing whoever is convenient. The people walking by on the street, the people who bothered to fill out a survey in a magazine, or, yep, you guessed it, people who feel strongly enough to call into a TV show.
And just like that, we have solved our mystery. That first UN poll, the one with 186,000 responses, it was just a massive convenience sample. The only people included were the ones watching that specific show at that specific time who were motivated enough to pick up the phone. They were not in any way a representative sample of all Americans.
And this really gets to the core of it. A huge sample size cannot fix a bad method. As the research puts it, a large convenience sample is just as likely to be an unrepresentative sample as any other convenience sample. That small 500-person poll, it worked because it used probability sampling. It gave a much more accurate picture, even with way fewer people.
But hold on, we're not quite done. Getting the sample right is absolutely the biggest hurdle, but it is not the only one. Even a perfect, beautiful sample can be completely ruined by a few hidden traps.
Seriously,
You can do all the hard work of getting a perfect representative sample, but if you then turn around and ask them poorly worded questions, your results are still going to be garbage. The way you ask a question can totally change the answer you get.
So let's break down the common culprits. First, you've got double-barreled questions that try to ask two things at once, like, have you suffered from headaches and nausea? What does a yes even mean? Then you have leading questions that kind of push you toward an answer, like, most people favor solar energy. What do you think? And finally, watch out for loaded questions that use really emotional language to create bias. Spotting these is a key skill.
And last but not least, there's the human factor. You know, we're all susceptible to something called social desirability bias. It's that little voice in our head that pressures us to give the right answer, the one that makes us look good, instead of the totally honest one.
Just think about it. If you ask someone about sensitive topics like voting, or how often they exercise, or how much they donate to charity, people will often report what they think they should have done, not what they actually did. This can create a pretty big gap between what a survey says and what's happening in the real world. And it's something every good researcher has to think about.
Okay, so we have cracked the case of the two poles, and we have navigated the hidden traps. Now, let's put all of this together into a simple, powerful toolkit that you can use every single day.
From now on, whenever you see a survey headline, don't just take it at face value. Ask these 3 critical questions. Number 1, who was actually surveyed? Was that sample representative of the group they're talking about? Number 2, how were they chosen? Was it the gold standard probability sampling, or was it just a convenient group of people? And number 3, what was the exact question? Was the wording totally neutral, or was it biased?
By asking these 3 simple questions, you can cut right through the noise. You can spot junk data from a mile away, and you can become a much, much smarter consumer of information. So the question isn't just for the pollsters anymore. It's for you. The next time you see a poll, will you just trust the headline, or will you question the sample?